What's going on, Roundup? Good evening to you. It's an honor to be back with you this evening with my good friend, mentor, and fellow real estate investor, Dan Borrero. What's up, Dan?
What's going on, Mr. Haskins?
It is good to see you. I
Been
haven't
a
seen you in
while
three
since we've
weeks.
done this.
Yeah, 3 weeks.
3 weeks, is it?
Yeah, you was in Puerto Rico, and then I went to Orlando last week, and it's really been crazy.
Life is
So
great.
you're right, man. You know what, dude? I have to sit back and be thankful and look. Dan, do you ever look back how far you have come?
I do, and I kind of wish, and I try to tell people this now. Stop and smell the roses, man, during the journey. Like every time I every time I accomplished something that was going to bring me to the next level, I had these blinders on because I was so preoccupied with getting to that next level, right?
It sucks, man.
I didn't. If I had taken off the blinders, I could have enjoyed the moment at the time, especially with my family and my kids. So enjoy the ride and
Yeah,
smell the
that ride is something, isn't Dan? Because I'm like looking back, like Dan. I feel like no matter how much I earn, man, I'm always just grinding. I mean, I could do a million a month, right? And I'm like, I'm still like, okay, what's the next? I don't know if that's a curse. I don't know if it's an entrepreneur thing. It's just,
My accountant, Mr. Hyde, used to say either you have it or you don't.
mm, that's rough.
It's the truth, though.
That's rough,
It's
Dan.
like, and that could go across the board, not just for entrepreneurs, but even artists, chefs, even police officers, right? Like, you're going to come across some really good cops, and you're going to come across some really bad ones, right? Same thing with teachers, and either
Quad
you
directors. Could it be any? I mean, it could be anything, huh?
either you have it or you don't. You know,
That's deep.
so you have it. You have the entrepreneur like thing, right?
But I think, like you said, I don't know. For me, I feel like my life from 2010 to 2020 was just a blur. I feel horrible that I apologize to God and the universe for not enjoying my ride because it was like I don't even remember what I did. I just was working so damn hard.
Yeah, you were just moving.
So tonight, y'all, Dan and I are just gonna go back and forth a little bit. We're gonna be talking about Jay Morrison and I haven't done the video yet because I'm still collecting my thoughts, but I want to hear Dan Barrero's. I've got some clips I'm going to play. Dan, you want to share before we get to Jay? You want to share a little bit about what's going on with you, or you want to get right into that?
Let's get into that.
All
That's
right.
that's a subject matter, and it's deep for me because the
Why?
reason I got into social media. It's funny. My kids were on me about getting on social media for about 5 years. I have four adult kids now. My oldest is 32.
Hmm.
My youngest is 23. And they were like, especially my older kids, because as they were getting older, and they would ask me, like, they would hear their friends talking about real estate, and they were like, "Yeah, I don't think that's right," only because of what they heard their dad say for so many years, right? Whether they be in a car and I'm having a business
They
conversation,
just know from just being with you. Like, yeah,
it's
I don't know.
exactly osmosis, I think they call it, or something.
Yeah,
Yeah, is that the? I don't know if I'm using the right word, but
that works.
and and then their friends would call me and ask me questions. Then their friends' parents would call me and ask me questions. And my daughters were like, "Dad, you need to get on social media because there's a like they're confused because of what they're hearing on social media." And then I start watching some stuff. Like my daughter starts showing me some clips, and I'm like, I
He was out of his mind.
hope nobody's paying attention to this guy because people are gonna lose a lot of money. So that's why I started getting on social media, guys.
It's so weird when you hear somebody like, man, that's whoever's doing that, man. Even as I think about the bird strategy, I see
Yeah,
people, man, that will get your ass in a sling real quick because I have.
burst strategy is a great strategy, but there's so many
That's
steps
work.
to it, and you screw up on one of those steps, burst strategy is out the window. And by the way, I didn't even know the burst strategy existed
Was it?
until I did like my 10th deal, and there was an attorney who brought it to my attention, and he had been the same attorney for all 10 of my deals. And he was like, "You're ready for this part." And I was like, "What is it?" And he explained it to me. There was no name for it. He explained it to
I'm
me.
just doing stuff.
Now there's an acronym because everybody tries to make it bigger than what it is. But
They're trying to sell stuff.
yeah,
So y'all, I did not give Jay Morrison any money. I tried. I'm not gonna get to the story here tonight. I did try. I was on the phone with his team, and he called me personally, and we talked about this stuff. I didn't even tell Dan about this.
man, I would have slapped you silly if you had told me about that. Me and you gonna talk tomorrow. I want to hear that story.
Yeah, I'll tell you. But I'm gonna do a whole presentation. But I tried. I promise you, I tried to give the man the money. He wasn't set up to receive it, so that was the whole thing. He wasn't. His process wasn't set up. And when I look back, it was God. So I'm gonna just take some clips here, y'all. If you don't have this, go to Julian Gordon. He has this.
Yeah, but you may wanna
Hmm?
give some background story to.
It's about okay. So this dude, Jay Morrison, he was one of the first real estate guys, brown real estate guys, to do a fund, nationwide fund. He raised $11 million. And just recently, we found out that he's actually selling the business. I'm sorry, selling the building. I didn't believe this until I actually went to the broker's website and I saw the building for sale. Now, that may or may not be a red flag. That he might be liquidating it to buy another building. I don't know. This is not my.
Yeah,
I'm
but
not.
this is the legacy building, according to him. So that's not what you don't get rid of. It's the legacy building. And if I remember correctly, he calls it the Black House.
That's true. That's true. He
You don't get
does.
rid of the legacy. That's what brings you more money.
That's
Supposedly.
true. So Dan's speaking from doing this business for over 30 years. And once again, man, I love giving people the benefit of the doubt. Because here's the thing, Dan. I have to blame some of the people that gave him money, right? Even when I was doing it in the vein of this money is going and it's gone, right? If I was going to do it. But what I want to ask you, Dan, do some of the people that gave him money, in your opinion, do they need to be held at fault also? Because if someone gives me money, right, for me, I know it's secured by real estate. I know if it burns down, they're going to get a check. I know if I get hit by a bus, they're going to get a check. They are secured.
I'm trying to find a political correct way to make that statement, but
You don't want to.
I just don't really seem to be able to. I'm saddened by those people that lost money to him.
Yeah.
I've been watching some Instagram clips by people who gave him money. One particular guy,
the military guy,
served his country overseas twice.
That's man. I would not want to have that video about me, dog. That's going to have a lot of weight. I saw that one day.
Yeah. I think that the majority of the people that gave him money. Well, let's just talk about it. The Tulsa. You recognize what he did with that Tulsa name, the fund?
You talking about the name? Yeah, it was from just when it burned down back in the day. When they burned it down, he was using.
You don't mind explain that to the audience, and then I'm gonna cap on that.
Okay, cool. So the Tulsa Real Estate Fund was Jay Morrison. So he took the name because it was a black part of town, like where Wall Street was, and that part of Oklahoma. So he adopted that name to appeal to people like me that's looking for another opportunity to get to invest and to raise our financial literacy by paying homage to our ancestors. But my opinion, that's what I thought of it was.
And that's exactly what he did, right? So he took this history of African Americans being literally slaughtered in the streets because they were financially successful, right? That's why they call it Black Wall Street.
Yeah.
And he took that name of that town and used it as part of his marketing to sell this fund.
No doubt.
The people he actually victimized, in my opinion, are those very same people that have been victimized throughout centuries, not only in this country, but throughout the world. So this is why I don't have any sympathy for the man, just like I don't have any sympathy and for what's his name, Cesar Pena,
yeah.
flipping NJ, because what he did was capitalize on the Hispanic community, right?
Mhm.
Where people gave him money in the Hispanic community because people in the Hispanic community, just like in every other community, want to help our own, right, achieve something so we could feel good about ourselves,
Yep.
right, as a community. So he actually took that emotion and marketed his entire technique to that emotion. And instead of capitalizing and doing something good with it, what he did with it was enrich himself.
Yeah.
Uh,
Let's get
and
into this clip, man. Go
I
ahead. I'm sorry, Dan. I'm gonna
don't
cut you off.
have any sympathy for people like him, or I don't care what their nationalities are, but when they go after the very same people that have been victimized the most, it's a sin.
So we got some clips here I'm gonna play, and this Jay does not have this. Luckily, this dude Julian Gordon. So forward play clip. Damn, Dan. He's selling the black house. We don't know where he is regarding business, but we do know that he's getting rid of the building, which I wouldn't have gotten rid of. In fact, I don't get rid of buildings. I mean, I like the last thing I want to do in business is ever get rid of a building.
I'm
Dan,
I'm getting rid of one now.
yeah, but you had it for how long though?
1999.
So you had this shit for 25 years. You know that doesn't count. That yes,
Yeah, look, the deal is he raised over $11 million. And from my understanding, I don't know how true this is. I'm going according to what I've read and seen in interviews. He just took $1.5 million. He just took $1.5 million loan against the property to then that after he took that, and his argument was that's for me because I've been managing this fund, and
wow,
I'm going to take $1.5 million, and now I'm going to sell it. But we have $11 million in funds that we've taken from people, but the building's only worth, I think, $3 million.
yeah, he said it right here. And you know what, Dan?
Minus the $1.5 million that he took from himself on a loan.
Yeah, Dan. When I heard about this news, dude, I didn't sleep. I was up all night. I couldn't sleep.
I think I feel like that every time. Look, you know what I tell people? Stop giving your money to somebody else.
Yeah,
If you're gonna, there's no one that's gonna protect your money better than you are. There's
Mhm.
no one that's gonna invest your money better than you are. I remember when I used to have a financial advisor, and for Dean Witter, and every time he did a trade back in the days, it was like $110, 180, $115, and then what happened was, he buys it, it's 115. He sells it to 115, and he get 1.5% of the portfolio.
he
And then
kicking up.
right, and then at the end of the year, he's telling me, "Hey, listen, you know, but we did great. We did 1% above the S&P. Oh, we did really great. We did only 2% below the S&P." And after about 5 years of hearing this, I was like, well, "Why am I paying you, man? Let me go get the S&P 500 if you're going to use that as a benchmark for your success, right?
Mhm.
And I don't have to pay all these fees." And that's what I did. I opened up an account with Vanguard. I transferred my money from Dean Witter, and I just literally at the 15th of the month, I put a certain amount into the S&P 500 fund, whether it's up or down, because I knew I was going to be in it for the next 35 years. And
Mm.
it's worked out great. Right? So what and I'm not a stock guy. I'm an idiot when it comes to picking out stocks. But I know one thing: the S&P has a history.
Mhm.
That I know. I know the one thing that when I started buying that S&P almost 30 years ago, it wasn't where it's at today. Even though it's taken some nosedives, it's gone right back up. So, educate yourself. Invest your own money. Yeah, you're going to make mistakes, but at least that you can live with. And those mistakes you made, you're going to learn from. There's never been a mistake where I've lost money from that I haven't made hundreds of thousands from as a result of that mistake.
You learn and you get better. Just one notch. All right, Dan and Dan doesn't know this, but I'm gonna be bringing Dan on here to go over this Jay Morrison thing in detail. But tonight we got a few minutes just to kind of go over what I was showing. Okay, Dan, I'm gonna play a couple clips, and I want to get your take on it. You ready?
Go for it, brother.
Okay.
Right. So these are the kind of things that I'm trying to look at right now. And
So-
if anything,
Let me ask you this, Doc.
Oops,
Is
I
there
went
a
back too far.
today, but I do want to give everyone clarity that our path forward to progress, the fund needs to recapitalize. We know we got to do another capital raise. It's a must for us to drive forward.
Dan, another capital raise. When I heard this shit, I'm like, fuck is this guy talking about? I'm like, what would make a human being lose 11 and then think he can go out there and raise more with a losing track record?
I think personally, I'm trying not to bring this into this conversation, but that's what we're learning from our politics today.
So this is almost acceptable behavior.
Our politicians, the leaders of this country, are making this acceptable.
I gotcha.
This type of behavior.
I gotcha.
Think about that, right? When you have the president of the United States, and listen, I'm not talking, I want everyone here to understand, and Chris knows this. I'm not a Democrat or Republican. I personally think neither party has our best interests at hand. But when you have the leader of the free world calling women fat and that they look like horses because that woman happens to be an independent-minded person and it's going to call out the discrepancies in the story, but you have and that leader, it's acceptable. What does that tell you, right? So what does that tell our kids in school? It's okay to be a bully.
It's acceptable.
It's okay to be dishonest, and that's and both sides, both parties. So, I mean, again, I could be wrong. That's just my personal opinion.
So he's learning this. I heard him say, we're going to talk about this not tonight, but another night, y'all. He didn't being a bad investor is not fraud. I didn't have that here.
He said that.
I don't have that clip, man. But yeah, he did. Man.
Again, it's not. Think about it. We elected the United States. The people in the United States of America elected a president that had 7 or 8 bankruptcies.
Yeah.
And we elected that person to manage the largest economy in the world. It's again. I think our political leaders are making that type of behavior acceptable.
So, all right, let's keep going. Then I got some questions for you, Dan.
Go for it.
Let's keep going here. Y'all put your questions in quickly. We're going to do a few Q&A, then we're going to get out of here.
We've been beat up. We've been hit. We have this legacy center asset that is valued at anywhere from 3 to 3.5 million, right? We are stabilizing fast, though. We've had some of our first 6-figure months here. We've had Amazon here. We've had Delta here. We've had Disney come a few times to see about the space. We are growing popularity. We have great management, great sales team, great process, and doing it through the storm. These assets on the wall, these 32 transactions or other transactions that we did, many of which in private lending.
So what he's talking about, it looks like he has some loans that he put out for other investors, Dan. Now,
let's take a step back. He says he's got great process, great management. If the process of management is so great, why are you in the situation you're in? That's number one. If you gave those loans out, then who'd you give those loans out to? How is it that you got $11 million, over $11 million in contributions to a fund? It's been multiple years, and the fund has made no money in any year. I tell you what, who in God's name in the real estate business who has any ounce of experience hasn't made money in the last 4 years?
That's where I'm going. That's exactly where I'm going. Y'all, give us a thumbs up for this. This is like, Dan, any schmuck, any crazy person, any new investor, any ordinary American, if you bought a piece of real estate in 2019, 20, and 21, and then tried to sell it in 22 or 23, you made money.
All you have to do is breathe.
So I try to comprehend, and once again, Dan, I'm not even crucifying the guy yet, but I want to understand, Dan, if he gave out loans and that during the COVID, how could he have lost? How could he? Dan, you've been doing this longer than me.
That means, and what did you secure the loan against? What were the qualifications of that loan applicant? At the end of the day, you're the head of the ship. You know, I had a problem with a worker this week, and my jobs were going to get pushed back, and I refused to let it happen, and I actually had to get in the midst of it. But I blame myself. One, did I not train that worker sufficiently enough? Did I not give that worker the support he needed or the resources he needed? Right? Did I not have adequate conversations with him before it got to this point? I started looking at everything I did, not at what he did. What did I do wrong? Right? And this is a person that keeps pointing the fingers like the politicians. Politicians go like this. Real entrepreneurs say, yo, it's my fault.
That's right.
And I got to fix this. Real entrepreneurs don't say, we weather in the storm or make excuses.
Yeah.
Nah, that's just part of life. We have storms every day. Multiple storms. Sometimes we're in tornadoes.
Multiple.
In a day.
So then I once again, I want people to understand when you give money to a guy, get some security, man. And we can't really go over it tonight. But then when I hear the guy speaking about the deals he did and he weathered the storm, Dan, if somebody were to ask you from 2019 to 2022, would you consider your business in a storm? When you look back on it, I'm just saying.
What your definition of store? Listen, dude.
Strictly income.
No, we were making money.
I mean, how could you not? I mean, the government was.
As far as like making it happen sometimes, or because it's the biggest storm that we've had in the last 4 years is managing personalities.
The people.
Not managing to see if we can make money, because the money's there to grabbing in the last 4 years. It's about the people that you have to manage, right? The different personalities and who's going to screw up the deal and not screw it up. And are you going to bring in the job at the right number and within the right time frame and the most efficient way? Buying material, things like that is the problem. But making money in the deal is not the problem. It's about how much money we're going to make on the deal. It's not about whether we're going to make money on the deal.
Guys, Dan Borrero and I saw Dan would call me. I mean, this dude was I'll never forget. You called me. You were like, I thought I was gonna sell it for X, but I sold it for 60. Was it 60,000? I thought you did. Or was it 30,000 over?
We were gonna sell it for 450. We got 680.
So here's my thing, y'all. Once again, this is what kept me up that night when I hear the man say, well, COVID was rough for real estate. And I'm just like, how could anybody have lost during that time, Dan? And it's something just doesn't add up to me, bro.
Listen, that property we sold in Howell, New Jersey was not worth more than $450,000.
Yeah.
As a result of us bringing it in, literally, we got that job done in 45 days. We had a crew in there 6 days a week, working 12 hours a day. And by the way, we did pay them bonuses for doing it. And we actually put it in the market dead smack in the middle of COVID. There was a line outside the door, right? And we used that.
That's right, because they couldn't go in. They had to wait for everybody in the car.
That's right. And then the best part about it was now everybody's sitting in that car with their realtors, and they're looking at all the people waiting to get in. What are the realtors telling these people? Hey, listen,
FOMO.
You better come in above asking. You come in at asking, this ain't gonna happen.
Yeah,
the realtors themselves are souping up the buyers.
Yeah.
Right. And we scheduled all of the showings in a 2-hour interval. It went on for 4 hours, right? Because we know people ain't going to be there for 10 minutes. They're going to be there longer. But we did that intentionally to create a competitive atmosphere.
I like that, Dan. I like that.
So what and yo, guys, I want everyone here to know, I used to come home in a small yellow school bus. I'm a special ed kid. And if this person here could do it, anybody could do it.
especially a guy that's got 11 million. Q Win said he or she only lost $500 testing him out. We're gonna do another live where I want y'all to call in. We're gonna get you. Dan, I got some technology. We're gonna have people calling in. Dan, look, Deborah says thank you so much for keeping you on your toes. I had a thought. Oh, Dan, do you think he could have lost money on real estate? Did anybody lose money? Did you know of anybody that lost money on real estate during this time?
The only people that I know they didn't lose money, but they set themselves up to lose money.
How?
Well, the people
okay, before you answer, were they new?
Some new, some not. No.
Okay.
These people were taking advantage of that forbearance type of loan situation.
I'm talking about buying and selling real estate. Forget all that loan stuff.
Buying and selling part now. I mean, listen. You bought a property today.
You could have bought it at market.
Even if you paid slightly above market, 2 months later you were making money.
Yeah, it was a no-brainer. You couldn't lose.
No.
So for me to hear him say Anyway, all right. So, y'all, I just wanted to bring that up to you for today. Dan, we're going to do a deep dive on this in the next few days. I hope Dan will come back and share this. Sorry I didn't do any questions today, but I want y'all to know that Dan and I have this on the radar.
One question. Let's take one question.
All right. We got my man Kenji. He's one of my lenders. With the housing climate, should I buy and hold at home for my children?
So right now with this housing climate, there's
still no inventory down where I'm at.
There's very few fix and flips deals that make sense right now. I'm not saying they're not out there. There's very few of them. Anything I'm buying is for long-term hold. Now, I'm not holding for my kids. I'm not that building generational wealth guy. I'm like build wealth and then worry about the generational wealth later.
I love it.
So holding it.
Well, Dan, hold up, Dan. You did pay for the college tuition, as Tone just reminded me. So that's So you in a whole nother. You
that
Tone on the screen. He says you did pay for their college tuition, so you don't have to do that.
I did. And it's funny, man. So I just I went to Puerto Rico for almost 2 weeks with my whole family, and around half, like maybe on the 7th, 8th, or 9th day, we had a really expensive restaurant. And afterwards, we went for a really expensive, nightcap drinks, right? My kids are all adults now. So it's not $100 meal, $200 meal. It's $400 and up now, right? So everybody's having a good time. And I'm really having a good time. And we're in the cab, right, as we go home, and I'm laughing hard. They said, Dad, why are you laughing so hard? I said, because you guys don't realize you're spending your inheritance money. My wife was like, "That's right.
Hey, spend it now.
You guys are drinking and eating good, staying in a nice house right across the street from the beach. We were living large, right? So you guys don't realize it, but you're spending your inheritance money. That's why your father's laughing."
Spend it while you're here, man. Spend it. Enjoy it while you're
here. Jay said what was that question? What was that?
Oh no, Jay said he was that guy on TV. He did say he was one of the great real estate investors. He did say that. I did hear him say that. So anyway,
listen, all right. I want everyone here to know, I'm not saying Chris and I will never fail. But Chris and I will never fail and take everybody down with us. That won't happen.
Yeah. You gotta let the people go, man.
Yeah, sometimes things in life happen.
Gotta let them go.
Sometimes things in life happen that we can't control. We can't control sickness. We can't control divorces, accidents. One of our kids gets sick or ends up incarcerated. That's damaging to someone's life. We can't control that, but we can control other aspects of life. And this is, he hasn't. I think he said at one point his wife was sick, maybe. But there was never any proof of that. When the fund is not solvent, and then you go and take a $1.5 million loan against the legacy house, the black house is what he calls it, and then says to everybody, "Hey, we're going to put it up for sale, and the fund's going to go bankrupt if we don't come up with more money. First of all, what fool would give this guy money?
That's what I'm hoping. That's where at nighttime I'm like, my people have been stepped on, kicked around, shaken up, raped, killed, all of the above. Right? And we just want some leader. We want our leaders. I don't want to say one person. We want our leaders, man, just to do right. That's all. If our leaders just did right, I think we will be okay. But every time when my community gets a little bit of momentum, we get chopped off at the knees. And this is
including the Hispanic community. And that's why
really
what I said earlier. It hurts even more when it's led by somebody within our circle.
Yeah. And what I want y'all to, I hope y'all can read through the lines. This isn't like a Dan and Chris pointing fingers and, hey, give us your money, right? It's like, I'm gonna hopefully speak for Dan. We want y'all to invest your own money, like learn from us and go do it yourself. Some of y'all might come to us, maybe. I'm like, look, you do what we did and apply it to yourself. Is that what you're thinking, Dan?
I've actually had in the past month 2 people come to me to offer money, private money, and I'm like, I don't need it.
Yeah, it's more debt.
But if you like, I could show you how to do it with your own money.
Yeah, man.
I don't need your money. I got my own money. I don't need it. Yeah. And I'm not looking to create a fund or syndication. That's not what I do. That's not what Chris does. And I'm not saying anything bad about those people that do. It's just not what we do. So when you have your social influencer telling you, give me your money because I could do better with it than you can, instead of telling you, let me show you how to do better with your own money.
There you go.
Be really concerned.
I think that's, Dan, in my opinion, man, the true, I think once again, my people, we kind of get sucked up into the light. I think the real true doing it your own is hard. I think it's not going to be easy. I think it's going to require a lot of work. And I just think that people are going to have to just pull the big girl pants up and say, look, man, this is what I got to do. Y'all have to do this.
If you're not going to, there's so much talk about generational wealth.
Yeah,
it won't happen if you keep giving your money to somebody else to do it for you.
Yeah.
All right. Everybody's going to tell you what you want to hear. They're not telling you the truth. Unless you go to Dan and Chris Borrero, and you go to Chris Haskins, Dan Borrero, we're going to tell you the truth. And sometimes it may be insulting.
It's going to hurt. A lot of times. How many times you do those consultations and you're borderline screaming at somebody like, look, you got to do, this is serious.
I told you what happened like 8 months ago. One guy with that, as I'm talking to him, I'm returning his money. I'm like, I can't help you.
Can't help you.
Why not? I said, you don't have to do with money. You're 36 years old. You don't understand anything about money. I can't help you. Why would anybody? He wanted to learn. He was asking me questions on how to use other people's money to go and invest in real estate. And I'm like, so you make $140,000 a year. You still live at home.
Good money.
You got no wife. You got no kids. No alimony. You pay no rent. But you ain't got nothing but $10,000 in the bank. I can't. Yeah. Why would anybody give you money? You can't manage your own money.
There you go. Great note to end on. Why would anybody give you money until you learn how to manage yours? I think that is a good point. Listen, y'all, give us a follow. Dan Borrero, what's your website? What's your YouTube?
All right there, DanielBorrellJr.com. All my links are there. YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, everything is there.
Much love to y'all. Dan and I will be in Las Vegas on Wednesday, so send us a message if y'all want to do coffee or lunch. We'll be out there.
Chris, let's you and I talk early in the morning, please.
Oh, no doubt. Okay, I'll see y'all soon. Round up. Love you. Peace.
Take care.